Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to chat about War Thunder Edge. Now, War Thunder Edge is a mobile game which is based around War Thunder. We've talked about it a few times in the past and kind of followed its development because obviously as a product of Gaijin, because it's using a lot of stuff from War Thunder, it can give us a little bit of light into what's going to be coming in War Thunder in the future. Now, one of the things that's interesting about War Thunder Edge is that they've talked about the fact that there's only Second World War vehicles in the game right now, but they are looking to expand with the teaser trailer having the 2A5 in it. And looking into the files, now that the game is in a more, I suppose, beta state, we can work out how they're going to be doing things and what's going to be available. All of this information is from TZZV, so thank you for that as always, and let's get into it. It's a bunch of screenshots and also looks into the files. Basically, the files are set up very similarly to War Thunder's, but since they weren't set up, or at least some of them set up 10 years ago, or reformatted a few years ago, they actually make a lot more sense than War Thunder's. So, for example, you have a bunch of what would be classed as more modern vehicles, the PGZ here from the Chinese, showing that they're looking to not just add, USA, Russia, and then of course Germany. They will be adding pretty much every other nation as well. You also have stuff like the CV90-105, which is here also. They also have some new updated controls, which it looks like they're trying to do controller controls, which is kind of cool on top of the mobile stuff, and also some updated screenshots which make the game look a lot better. You even have stuff like this, which is of course the Kugelblitz. Now this one is actually kind of interesting that it's here, because technically this is a fake vehicle, right? It is one which is not available anymore in War Thunder because in real life it had a wooden mock-up turret and that was seen as not good enough to be in the game and was replaced by some other vehicles like the Kugelblitz, which was always also there already, and also the Ostwind 2, which is there as well. So War Thunder Edge might actually be getting stuff like this, the Panther 2, the Tiger 2-105, and so on. You also have this, which is one of the ZTZs. I believe it's one of the 69s, but I'm not entirely sure, showing that once again, Chinese stuff is coming. You also have submarines. Now, I know this is quite a low picture of it, but understand that I believe these are tech tree images, so it kind of shows what is going to be coming in. So submarines, once again, the space tank, the good old 279, is in the hizzy as always. Always nice to see the thing. And then, of course, the T-72-2, one of the kind of stalwarts of the USSR tech tree at the same time. The other vehicles, like the Term 3, make an appearance, so there is a ton of different stuff which is in the main game of War Thunder, which is coming to the mobile version. The ZTZ-69, once again, I believe this is the 2G or the 2A, depending on which one it might be. Then even stuff like the Class 3P, which is set around the place in the files. Now, this is a general look at all of the other pictures that are around. You can see that there is an absolute metric ton of vehicles that are ready to go and raring. Now, some of these are new, some of these are not new, and kind of give us a look into what may be coming in the future for War Thunder. But at the same time, with all of these AVIF things, it's a little bit hard to see them all, but it can give you a general idea of, what you're looking at. You also have stuff like the Imperatrice Maria upgraded instead of just standard, which is interesting to think about. So you have the standard Imperatrice Maria, and then also the upgraded version, whatever that means. And then also stuff like the Stalingrad, and then the Stalingrad upgraded, as we've talked about before, coming in. But so this can give you kind of a look of what you have a bunch of stuff coming. So the subtype K for the USSR, and then also the PR641, the 613, and of course the Type K. I'll be doing videos on all of these different vehicles. One thing to note, and a lot of people were talking about this before, and they were completely right about it. By the way, you can even get a ZIS-12 1945 upgraded. So we'll do a more deep dive into all of these different vehicles and, you know, what's going on with them. But one of the things that was brought up was the fact that in one of the previous videos, I didn't show too many images of the different ones. That was pretty much because I just didn't have time on that day, and now going into the weekend, I have a bit more time since my actual work stuff is, you know, a little bit more reduced. So what we'll do is we'll start doing individual videos on each of these different machines and release them over the next few weeks so you can kind of learn about them and see what's going on, because there isn't just, you know, a bunch of ships that are new or submarines that are new. There's a few other vehicles as well which may interest you, and this upgraded idea, I would love to see what upgrades them, because you can see there's a bunch of different versions of each of the vehicles which are there. Then you have, of course, the standard lists. So this kind of shows you the maps which are going to turn off. So you've got Abandoned Factory, Poland, Stalingrad Factory, and of course stuff like Ice Shelf, the Lofoten Islands, Pacific Islands, Scotland makes it in, Water makes it in, which is fantastic, along with random grass. So, yeah, pretty interesting. But yeah, this kind of shows you which maps are going to be available, at least at the start. And then here are the lists of some of the vehicles. So this is the aviation side of things. The only ones which really kind of stand out here, the one that's cut off is the Ac-9, by the way. These are very much, a lot of them are aviation, naval focused, which is something we found the other day with a lot of them. You also have stuff like the Osprey Mark IV and the OS-2E1 in there, and then of course the dummy planes, so we're going to have to see what those things are. Probably just shooting targets just to give a bit of a go at, but nothing too crazy here. Most of these, you know, we've already seen in War Thunder themselves. E7K2, E8N2, the recon planes, then also the SOC-1, which turns up, and even the Arado 196, which is pretty nice. So pretty cool indeed. Then for Naval, it's a slightly different story. Naval is basically where these files go a little bit nuts. You know, you've got the King George 1945, so we know it's the late war King George with all of the armament on it, so that'll be fun. You got the Vanguard, the Warspite, come on. And then also you got the Yamato, the Setsu, of course, in here as well, the Tirpitz 1944, then you've got the Type 7 and the Type 21 of all things. You've got all of these wonderful pieces. You got the Tang and the Balau for the subs, and then the 613, 641 and Type K, which we'll talk about later on. And of course the Stalingrad, which is sat around the place. There's so many different vehicles and so many which will come to War Thunder, I'm sure, in the future. And as I said, we'll do individual videos looking at each of them as we go through. And for ground, to be honest, there's not a crazy amount here that I would say is new. The main thing is you have reskins. So you can see here the Sherman reskin, the M4A4. This could maybe indicate Page of History stuff, but I doubt it. Then AMX-13 DCA-40 reskin. I'm guessing this is just the upgraded versions of things. But nothing really stands out. You know, the Batchat 25T, which we have, I suppose it indicates that French are going to be coming to the game, along with pretty much all of the other stuff. But yeah, there's really not anything here that is new, if I remember correctly. Just some reskins of things which would be nice to see in War Thunder itself. I suppose the Weasel is in, which is quite funny. The Hori production doesn't make it, so that's kind of a surprise, but c'est la vie. We'll have to see what they decide to do. The Concept 3 makes it, which is a interesting one, but yeah, I don't think there's anything that is new. Maybe this one, the M3 Lee AI, but that could just be that could just be for like a training mission purpose thing. And then also you have the Sherman tutorial as well, which is probably something to do with that too. The Striker makes it in, surprisingly. That is a very interesting one, but yeah. So from the ground perspective, you know, there's not too much that is going on, but from all the other perspectives, there's a pretty decent amount going on. Here you can see some more as well, but these are no different to what we've seen previously, just more vehicles which are already in the game. Nothing too nuts. These are the US and also the USSR ones, and ranging from, of course, the before the Second World War into the 60s. So we're going to get some pretty cool stuff there. And then once again, Japan, the UK, and everybody else with some different ones, with different reskins as well. So I wonder if this is just talking about like camouflages, or talking about like working for different nations. The Black Cat obviously is in here, so it seems kind of interesting. Another AI one, the Chinu AI, which I'm wondering what that actually means. But yeah, there's just a ton of vehicles here. Most of them are very much ones we've already seen before, but they're going to be here in a new form. And at the same time, one thing has to be noted about these things. The game itself is still going to be a mobile game, but mobile has come on leaps and bounds in the last few years. And then also, at the same time, at least the way that I see these things, is the simple fact that it gives us an insight in what's going to come along in War Thunder in the long run, because these things are going to be put in parallel. They're going to be developed in parallel, and there's no point in, using resources for one and not resources for another, which is what we see from this. This is also Abandoned Factory, by the way. It also might be a tutorial mission or something like that, which they show, and you can see the graphic settings have vastly improved compared to what we saw the last time. I'm really interested to see what's on this product. I don't right now have anything that could probably run it, but we'll have to see how it goes with like PC ports, or at the same time, maybe I'll pick something up to give it a go. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Millie Draper, Juan the Panda, Nick R. Kupila, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie B. Young, Peter Grayling, Jerry Provolt, Bareen, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, Derek R. and Lafouche for supporting the channel.